just can't let you know. I just can't let you know.
Hello and welcome to the DynamiXX Simracersworld GT Series live on Apex Racing TV. Today we are here at the Zolder circuit in Belgium, and myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, am joined alongside by Marco Barbier. And this round 9 of the season, Marco, and we're getting into the tail end of the season, where the points really do matter, where the championships can be decided. And this Zolder circuit, very close to lots of the members' hearts. Of course, a join-up recently happened at this circuit just a few weeks ago, where 20 or so of the drivers had a barbecue, and apparently it was a fantastic time. And of course, it's one of the tracks which is a mainstay in the Simracersworld GT calendar. And personally, I'm a big fan of this one, Mark. I kind of like these chicane-type circuits, like a bit like Montreal, where the walls are a little bit close to the circuit, where it's quite a unique track. But I know a lot of drivers aren't so big fans of this place. But either way, I think it should be some good fun.
Yes, absolutely. Hello everyone. Hello Sam. One of the trademark racetracks in this championship, alongside Spa and Brands Hatch. It is always on the calendar, and like you said, close to the heart of many drivers, especially those from Belgium, who certainly today will have a little bit of a head start, even though this is one of those tracks that everyone loves or hates, depends, on how you feel about tight chicanes and straights, because this is all about what this track is all about. It is a much shorter racetrack, compared to the ones we have been used to this season, or usually in iRacing, So I'm expecting a lot of chaos, 1 hour race that is going to be very tight, and the traffic, I think, will play a very big part in the proceedings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, short circuit and tight and twisted. So you're absolutely right. Maybe the lap traffic will make some kind of impact. Of course, the track, the car count from the start of the season has dropped a little bit down to in the low 30s now, which, if anything, is probably the best number. You imagine having 30 plus F1 cars, for example, it'd be a bit crazy, and we certainly can kind of savor a lot more of the battles with this field. Currently, practice just going on. We've only got about a minute more, actually, of practice, then we'll have a 10-minute qualifying. And, of course, a 1 hour race, a mandatory pit stop. Well, it's not mandatory. If you want to go to the end of the race on 1 tank of fuel, then, be our guest. But we would not recommend it by any means, because these cars are quite significantly limited on fuel. Expected pit stop around the 40-minute mark. At the start of the season, Mark, I think it was just the tracks that we visited, but incidents were always a massive thing. And I feel as though in these past few rounds, we haven't really had to talk about it. It's not been a particularly big impact. And I think today, again, with that 25 incident limit, I don't think it's going to be too much trouble for these drivers, which should mean that they can push as hard as they like for the whole race.
Yes, absolutely. The biggest talking point has been in the last couple of rounds, especially. It has been the problems at the start of the race, and so there has been a lot of talk going on between the drivers and the organizers, especially, you know, because this is going to be a big test for everyone because this track narrow and as practice is over. So they want to avoid as much as possible what we had in Bathurst and what we had in uh, Watkins Glen, of course, with that first lap carnage, as everyone is going out of the pits to take their qualifying. But after that, and I'm quoting Ian Roots on this. It's crazy because after the first couple of laps, then the racing becomes super clean. We had so many disqualifications, so few disqualifications as of late, and I agree with you. So let's see tonight. Of course, the biggest problem is not going to be the first corner, I think, even though it has a tendency to create some chaos. But this first chicane here, there is absolutely no way for two cars to go side by side unless you want it to end in tears. This second chicane here, a little bit more open, but still, this one you can afford to go wide or go straight, but that first chicane there is some very nasty speed bumps, especially on the inside, that can really damage your car if you go too hard on it. And then, this hairpin here will be a nice passing opportunity. And just in a second, the lap is already over. So it's going to be a tough one, especially if you cannot get a good qualifying and you maybe are faster than other drivers, because it's going to be tough to pass. I think it's been, something that we said a lot as of late, tough to pass. And today especially, you will want to make your moves. If you want to make your moves, you have to use a little bit of elbows if you want to go past an opponent.
Yeah, we saw the same thing at Watkins Glen, actually, which isn't something that you necessarily expect at Watkins Glen, but it was ever so difficult to overtake back then. Of course, we were using the chicane boot layouts, and so overtaking was ever so difficult for the drivers, and actually that kind of reduced the amounts of incidents, I think, because everyone had to be so patient behind one another. And you're absolutely right, Marco. Today it could be troubles as well as, well, David Whitfall's exhibits there. You got to commit early to that chicane. You do not want to launch yourself over the curve. You can lose control very easily, and you're also going to cause yourself quite a lot of splits of damage, which in these GT3 cars can really hinder you. Of course, wouldn't affect you too much around here necessarily, seeing that there's a few more corners, less straight. It's not like a Monza where a little bit of drag is going to absolutely kill your performance. You can get around it. Jeremy Hessel is going to exhibit perfectly how to get over the curve. A little bit too much second curve. Just had to hesitate on the throttle a little bit, but those BMWs looking very strong because, Marco, in practice, it was Ruben Van Buell who was very strong at Watkins Glen. He was the fastest in practice. He could bring an end to Martin Van Liesno's dominance of qualifying today, and that BMW good round the corners. This should be one of its strongest circuits all season.
Absolutely, you are right. Van Buell was the quickest in practice. So of course he will want to bring that same kind of speed when he is up for his qualifying lap. So we also have confirmation that the lap for Whittables has been invalidated. Let's find our number 48. Here he is, and he's going on his fast lap right now. I am looking for Martin Van Loosener. Here he is. Let's see.
Oh, he's backing off then.
Yeah, I think he's launching himself. It is his out lap, and now, whilst in the meantime, provisional pole has been set by Andrew Hopley in the Meraki Racing R8 BMW. So BMW, you're right, might have the upper hand today. So let's see how it goes. Let's jump on board with Ruben Van Buell.
Yeah, perhaps the man to watch out for. It was very close in practice as well, I should just add. And so it's really difficult to call. Van Buell, I think, just lifting off there. Yep, so he's going to have to back out again. And you don't want to do this too much because it's only a 10-minute qualifying session. Of course, one of the things we spoke about quite a bit at the start of the season. And with only these 10 minutes, rather than the 15 from Season 3, it does really force you to put in a good bank lap, and then you've only got a couple of opportunities to improve on it. So here comes Van Buell then. He's going to have another attempt at a lap. So far, only 19 drivers make that 20th set times. Still about 15 or so who haven't set times. And Marks van Loosenholt is one of them. But, of course, a significantly better lap this time. That Audi almost looks a little bit out of place around this circuit, taking up almost half the track. But, well, I'm sure it's not going to stop him whatsoever. Can't actually see any of Van Loosenholt's sector times at the moment, but I imagine this is still going to be very strong. Andrew Hopley currently pole position. Matthias de Tiege actually goes pole position, 26.6, and Van Loosenholt beats that. It's a 26.399 pole position by quarter of a second. What can Van Buell do in response?
Needs to get a good lap. So the previous lap we were watching from Ruben van Buell was invalidated in the end, so he really needs to put at least, like you say, a banker in. You know, the good thing about this racetrack is that the laps are not very long, so you can afford a couple of mistakes here and there. But still, you want to get that, you know, nice clean lap out of the way as soon as possible, and then really starting, you can really start to push, try to get, you know, that good lap in. Braking hard for the final chicane is Ruben van Buell, having a decent lap. Let's see if he's going to be a pole position lap as he comes onto the start finish line. Second, so close, 0.048 compared to Martin van Loosener, so the battle is definitely on.
Yeah, he's got certainly a chance. Time significantly slower than they were in practice. That's just due to the track temperature rising. Maybe a little bit of the pressure as well, so difficult to deliver in these big moments. Quite a few of the drivers just exiting back to the pits in the past couple of minutes. They're all about to start their time, some ending them as well. Andrew Hopley couldn't improve that time, 4/10 slower, in fact, than his personal best time. And track temperature not rising too much, currently 27 degrees. Haven't seen it increase so far in this session. So the track should still be very useful in order to improve your lap time. Bod Boland, what's he going to do? Always there or thereabouts, currently in 9th position. And he can't improve either, 1/10 slower, 0.99 in fact slower than his best time. What about Nick Sherman? He's been very strong in recent rounds. And can he now move himself up? Was in 25th, now up to 21st, but I imagine he'll be a little bit disappointed with that at the moment.
Yes, as you see, many drivers are coming through, setting a lap, trying to improve. These drivers have either, you know, had a very slow lap in, or no lap at all. In the case of Lee Dimmer, for example, here comes Steven de Wolf as he comes on the start-finish line. P17 for him, and P17 still does not improve himself. Bentains jumps up to P10 in his bronze car. As you know, for this round and the next, we won't have the championship leader David Fuller, who is on a very, very, you know, demanding trip. You know, I think in Ibiza, Mallorca, somewhere like that.
Poor guy.
So certainly, you know, I'm sure he's so bummed not to be able to race tonight. You know.
Well, he seemed pretty disappointed last week, but yeah, I'm sure a few cocktails
Yeah, you know,
and
but
that
when
will all ebb away.
you know, considering the time of day, you know, I think he's, you know, seaside enjoying a nice fish-based dinner. You know, he promised to watch the broadcast, but I don't think he remembers about it.
Well, if he is, certainly do let us know on the YouTube chat. And of course, if you've got any questions yourself, do let us know on the YouTube chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. It is to Teach Costas line. He improves but not any positions. 1/10 faster, and he edges tantalizingly ever closer to the top two judges. Quite a big range of teams currently at the front. It's Racecraft, Esports, Buell Racing, SimRacersworld, and Meraki Racing currently occupying the top 4 places. Davey Witzball's leader in the silver category really only has to have a couple more solid finishes, and he's currently having one of his best qualifyings of the season on pole position in that silver category as well in 8th. What can Ruben Van Buell do? Can he improve? He needs to improve by half a tenth, and well, that time he was 1.5 seconds slower. So he's going to line himself up for one last lap. Tom Methel might have one last lap as well, currently in 4th position. Will this be his last lap? Will he maybe have a little bit of extra fuel in order to set one last lap time? He crosses the line, and in fact, this is going to be his last lap time, Tom. As you can see, still pushing very hard to turn 1. Time is up, so drivers can now complete this lap time, and that will be it.
Yes, I'll jump on board with our championship leader as, of course, he moves straight into the pits. So, Matthias de Tige for Simracersworld Pro 1. Sitting in P3, can he jump Ruben van Buell and go to second place? He can't. So he will have to, be happy with third place. Driver with no time, Marcel van der Linden is leaving it very, very late. The Atomic Motorsport driver, here he comes. Start-finish line for him. Close to an off-track. Here he comes.
Ooh, good lap.
And he's a good lap. P4. Yep, so he left it late. And now your favorite driver.
Ben Llewellyn.
Yes, fantastic.
Thank you very much.
That sadly is an invalidated lap, so he will have to start all the way back, in the field. So that will be it for qualifying, I think. Just waiting for, there's not a lot of time, extra time in this track, being it, particularly short, as everyone is home safely, and we are just waiting for the race to switch over, and it's switching over right now, and we can take you through the starting grid.
Yes, we can. Martin van Loosenholt on pole position for this round 9 of the championship. He was half a tenth clear of Ruben van Buell in second. Matthias de Tige, good qualifying from him in third. Maybe a little bit of a specialist around this track. Marcel van der Linden in 4th place. Tom Methel starts in 5th with Ewan Marshall in 6th. Then rounding out the top 10 is Lewis Ward. Good to see him back. Andrew Hopley, Davey Witzballs across top of the silver drivers, and Steve Clay second of the silver drivers. And then in 11th is Bob Boland. Behind that is Ben Thanes, who's the top of the bronze drivers today. Then it's Ian Roots, maybe a chance for his first gold points of the season. Jais Moody starts in 14th with Chris Moritz at 15th. And then behind that is Ronald Moons, Jeremy Hessels, Stephen DeWolf, Seb Herbert, and John McConville. And then behind that is John Barnes, Nick Sherman's Theisberg, James Hobden, Stephen Castrop, William Bush, Lee Deemer, Craig Jones, and Stuart Musselwhite. Those are the drivers who set times. And then Scott Malcolm and Ben Llewellyn were the two drivers who didn't set laps times. They'll be starting right from the back. A pretty close field, I want to say. About 2 seconds. Less than 2 seconds separating first to 27th, which is pretty close. I'd say, Mark, I think there's quite a few specialists around this circuit. I think particularly kind of Tige and maybe a couple of others, maybe Witzballs as well. I think maybe going very well around this. So it kind of shows how lots of the judges kind of have a connection with this place.
If I'm not mistaken, last week we interviewed, I think, Steve Clays after the race, and he told that he recently had a real-life race around this racetrack. So I think he knows all the secrets about the Zolder track, and he lines up in the top 10 overall. So I think Ben Llewellyn is about to start from the pits, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe, and also William Bush starting from the pits. It's either due to a penalty or due to, wanting to avoid a possible mess at the start. Let's see. As the cars are rolling, it's a full pace lap, but not bad, considering that we have a short lap around here, and we can enjoy and hopefully I don't forget to keep the track map on this time around.
Well, apparently, many of the drivers, and you may be watching back today, or maybe not after the debacle that was last week, with the absence of track map. But yeah, a lot of the drivers didn't like missing the track map. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of it. I'm gonna say, but you know,
But
that
you don't
it's
count. You don't use the OBS overlay for the broadcast, no?
well,
So
exactly. I didn't have to see it, so it doesn't really affect me. Um, but no, yeah, clearly it's a big appeal to me. It does help. It means that we don't actually have to say anything. You can just see where the cars are on the circuit. So it saves us a job. And well, we can't exactly turn that down. Currently, Mudsman's not just dropping back a little bit. He goes to a bit of a weird, I'd say a weird start routine. But he always waits until the green flag comes out. He literally reacts to the green flag, which can often let him down a little bit because it means that if the second place driver reacts to the green flag a little bit quicker, then well, then Martin is in big issue. So just watch out for that on the run down to turn one. It's not the longest run either. But if Ruben Van Buel wants to win today, that first corner is definitely going to be his best chance. And maybe into this chicane as well, which all the drivers negotiate pretty well on the formation lap. That was difficult enough. I'm sure going 3 times this speed on the first lap is going to be much more difficult.
yeah, I was about to say that it looks so scary even in the pace lap. So I cannot imagine what it is going to be, straight away when they come down there in the first lap. Once again, hopefully the drivers have learned from their mistakes, and we have a nice run. As yeah, Sam, it's already time to go racing.
It sure is. Round 9 of the season. We've got 3 more to go after this, and it's Martin van Loosenod once again on pole position. He claimed 3 bonus points for that pole position. Will he be able to convert it into a race win? They're now coming round the final chicane. Van Loosenod will line up the field. It's Van Buel alongside him, and we are away at Zolder. And it's a very good start for Van Loosenor. Should be able to cover off the BMW on the inside. Trying to go 3 wide now. Going into turn 1, Van Buel almost into the wall, but does well to avoid it. And he might just be able to hang on to second place as well. But round the outside goes to Teach. He'll have the inside for turn 2. And that's a nice move there. And a really good move there from Van der Linden, who moves up into 3rd place almost immediately. So fantastic start for him as Van Loosenor just sprints away from the rest of the field. So Van Buel down 2 positions. Also, David Witzball's down 2 positions. Crucially losing the silver class lead as the drivers will head down this back straight going into the chicane. Are we going to see any issues? Van Buel's trying to respond on Van der Linden going into the chicane, had to back out of it in the end. We're going to have a car surely over the curve. No, Hopley just about missed it, and that might be a very nice move actually from Andrew Hopley, as all the drivers seem to have executed that nicely, and not too many collisions on this opening lap as they all start to shuffle out.
Oh, here we go.
Around.
That is
That's
Wittebol,
I
so
think.
yeah, the silver
Yeah.
championship leader, facing in the wrong direction and having to basically line up all the way. Thanks to Racing for the beautiful cameras. Oh, he's
Ooh,
grabbing.
big
Oh
damage.
dear, I
Wow.
thought he got away with it, but no.
Well, this is a major setback for Davey Witzbos. He's scored 7 consecutive podiums going into this round, where he's not going to score a podium today. This is how it happened.
Oh,
And
unlucky there.
super unlucky, yeah.
There was
What's
a
that, Roots on the inside?
I think he was, and there was, I think, half a meter away between the two drivers. But it was registered as a contact wheel to wheel, or the basically on the wheel on the right rear of poor Davy Wittebols, and that is something that you don't want to do. These cars are very very resistant, but wheel damage is always tricky.
Well, the pole points for Davey Witzbos will come as a welcome relief for him. But Steve plays the opportunity now as the silver class leader, potentially take out 25 points from that championship lead. It currently stands at 58 points, so something needed to happen, and that might just be the stimulus that it really needed. Here is Steve Place, leader of the silver dress, currently second in the championship, just on the tail of Bod Boland currently. He's had a fantastic start, up 4 positions. No, sorry, apologies. That's my bad. I think up 2 positions. I think is Boland. I'm not quite sure. I think my timing screen is playing up slightly, but it's been a decent start. He is running in 7th position. I do know that.
Might have a... So I'm seeing Matthias de Tige with a generic livery, and I updated the paint pack just before going live. So did he change car? Because I remember him maybe in a different car in the previous
I
races.
thought he was. I thought he was in a Mercedes.
Okay, so it's not me. So he upgraded to the BMW. Well, let's see. Simracersworld Pro 1. So he is teammate with a driver that is not racing today, so we cannot see if his teammate has the same car. So never mind. Van Luzen pulling away. Ruben van Buell, I would say the biggest loser, apart from Davy Whittables, because from second and very close time-wise to Van Luzen to third. Great start from Van der Linden, who left it very, very late, as Lewis Ward is having some issues. Yes, you can see him in the gravel trap there at the first chicane and back on the racetrack. Certainly something has gone wrong with him.
Yes, so it looks as though it's a self-spin. Took too much of the first curve, which caused him to take too much of the second curve. And, well, a long way off the circuit there. Nice drift, kept the car moving at all times. But did lose a lot of time. Of course, Lewis, well, fantastic. I keep on going on about this, it's consistency. But he's had a 5th place, a 5th place, a 5th place, a 4th place, a 4th place, a 4th place. Didn't take part in the last 2 races. They scored no points. I can't want him to score no points today either, which would be absolutely glorious. But wait, it looks as though he's not going to be scoring big today after that mistake. A very rare mistake as well. The first one I can remember him make all season.
As we are having Lewis Ward disappear on us, unfortunately. So
Well, it looks like he's going to score 0 points then.
yeah, and Davey Whittables also writing in the chat that that's it for him, and sadly that was not a surprise with that kind of damage. 1 hour race, which is long in itself, but that kind of damage takes a while to repair, and first of all it never gets repaired completely, but of course the moment you lose a couple of laps or even just 1 lap, Sam, that the race is over for you.
Yeah, absolutely. When you've got such a competitive field and so many drivers in your class as well, it's unlikely that you're going to score any points. Pretty close for that battle for 3rd and 4th. It's also very close for this battle, 11th and 12th. Ben Thanes with an opportunity to score some points. Do you think it's going to be able to get himself back into the championship fray, but will strengthen his position in 2nd place?
Looks like someone tried to get, sorry Sam, a piece of the rear end of Ian Root's car, as you can see.
Well, he was involved in that collision with Witzbols, wasn't he? So I wonder, as he made contact with Witzbols, maybe someone hits him up the rear, perhaps? Not sure.
There's a big chunk of paint missing from the rear end of his orange Mercedes there. But Ben Thanes, channeling his inner David Fuller, because he's knocking on the top 10. And, Dries Mujdi, also in the bronze class, just 2 positions behind. As we really, I don't want to sound like I am against the environment, because I love the environment, I love nature, but there are so many trees around this racetrack, all the cameras are obstructed at some point or another. So, and to add that, you have also, the pavilions, all the tents around the racetrack. So apologies if sometimes the cars disappear behind some kind of building or, tree. Sadly, we cannot have the option to remove the trees, with a chainsaw in iRacing.
Well, that would be very good. Of course, you got a few kind of first-person sheets, haven't you, where you can just remove the trees, and it's often quite an advantage. I know certainly in PUBG, it's quite an advantage just to turn off all the things that can cause you to lose visibility of other people. I don't think it'd be too much of an advantage on sim racing, it must be said. But no, I personally, I'm a big fan of the trees. Certainly when racing, it's like driving down like a bit of an avenue, but yeah, on the broadcast, not too good whatsoever. However, of course, if we could go back to the old Hockenheim ring, you know, no one
yeah.
would say no to that, and that had the most trees, I think, of any track. Hessel's getting past Thanes then. So Thanes was looking like he was going to get past Roots, and he's actually dropped back by about 2 seconds. Has now been overtaken by Jeremy Hessel. So nice move there from Hessel's, and he's currently second place in the silver jersey. So important they made that move because he wants to stay as close to the race leader Steve Clays as possible.
And this, of course, brings the two class leaders in bronze next to each other. You can see the orange BMW, orange and black BMW. Red and black BMW is Ben Thanes. Dries Mujdi is in the black and white Dynamics Audi R8. As you know, these two might have a nice scrap for the rest of the race. And also in the silver class, of course, it's Ian Root, the only one that is between class leader Steve Clays and Jeremy Hessel, who we just saw go past Ben Thanes. Whilst back at the front, the leader has checked out, Martin van Luzenoord, but the Tish, Van der Linden and Ruben van Buell. There are 3 cars, I'd say also Tom Metherell, and maybe also even Ewan Marshall. There are 5 cars for 2 podium positions, so someone will go home unhappy. But we still have 50 minutes left in the race, so all drivers have plenty of time to make their move.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost a little bit it's almost a bit like the
Sebastian Eberer, I think. No, who was that?
No,
John McConville?
John McConville, yeah. So he's lost a lot of places there. Has McConville won to his teammate Nick Sherman. So
he also damaged his
He's
car.
Yeah, gone over to the curbs, and big mistake there from John McConville. It's really set him back. He was having a decent run up in the top 20, and this is how it happened then.
Jump on board with him, yes. Silver category 7th position. He was position Z before this. Look at this weird curve there. So he took a chance earlier, and it was the other lap, of course. So maybe it was this moment. Go. So he already had a bit of damage there, but I think he did, extra damage.
Ooh.
Understeer is wild. Oh, look at that. Damage popping up. Bad luck there for John, and certainly we'll have to take some repairs by the time he comes in the pit lane.
Really tight on the inside there is Barnes, but keeping his car in the correct place, keeping Lee Diemer back at the mech team, which just looks to the inside in that fantastic Excite NGI Racing livery. Sometimes they're called Audio Division stuff. I'm not quite sure what the proper name is, but well, whatever the name is. Good to see that team represented. As going around the outside, here's Diemer. So really struggling down the straights currently. Is his opponent. Is there going to be contact here? Well, Diemer's got through, and here comes, past the pair, then potentially is Nick Sherman's. We've got 3 wide going over the crest. There's barely enough room for the 3 cars. Sherman's wisely backs out of it, and Diemer is going to go through here, and Sherman's going to go past.
There's Mujdi.
Now they're going to get a bonus because Moody has made a mistake, and he's lost a whole load of places. But nice work there from Lee Diemer to eventually make that move.
Former second place driver in the silver class, in the bronze class, apologies. Let's go to the chopper. Those chicanes are dangerous and treacherous. So it's only a small mistake. Those damn speed bumps there are, really the driver's worst enemy around this racetrack. So bad luck for Dries Mujdi all the way down to P25. So also nice comeback from Ben Llewellyn. He started from the back, so he started there. Starting from the pits was only William Bush, and I'm told by William himself he did so because of a hardware issue. He is, now of course 2 places up because Ward and Whittables have both retired.
So Roots now hunting down Hessel's. Hessel's own. Oh, sorry, Hessel's has got past Roots. Sorry, did you say that, Marco?
Did I say that? Yes.
Yes, apologies. But yeah, so Hessel's really closing in on Clay's. And Racecraft Esports Silver versus DynamiXX Racing. Where is Hessel's in the championship? Just so 11 points behind Clay. It's a little bit. It's 9 points behind. They were for a pole 17.
I think we are losing Sam. Or sorry, we are losing Discord more than Sam. Sam has been replaced by a robot for the time being. So while we try to get Discord back to work, I will try and carry on. So this is the battle for the silver class lead, Steve Clays and Jeremy Elsas, but now Ian Roots certainly is not, relenting away, and of course a driver that is searching for those first points of the season desperately, and he's always been there or thereabouts, but missing maybe the extra ingredient. Not a good start of the race for him, of course, because of that contact in the very first lap with Davey Whittables, and then receiving not only the damage from that contact, but also, as you can see from these pictures, some damage to the rear end of his car, which certainly will affect his handling. As you see, when you are 2x2 in this chicane here especially, one of the two cars has to take, a little bit of a tougher route through the corner, and that can really upset your balance. You need to have a lot of courtesy when you move around there. Let's see if we have Sam Fitzpatrick back.
Yes, I should be sounding okay. Apologies for that. Was that just Discord on my end?
Yeah, no, it was Discord.
Oh, okay, right.
So I wanted to say something, but I was waiting for you to come back, because looking at Ian Roots' damage there, it is exactly the same damage that we got in the Sebring 12 hours. And, that is a race-winning damage, apparently.
Yes, made you faster.
Exactly, made us faster, but also made the car very understeery, I have to say. So I'm sure that Ian is struggling a bit now, trying to, but he's not relenting in his pursuit of Essos there, and of course, like I was saying, looking for the top 10. That I think he doesn't have one all season long.
Yeah, remarkably, Mr. 11th or 12th place. And I don't know what I said I would do last week when I said if he got 11th or 12th place again. I think I said I would do something, but maybe like eat a hat or something like that, as Craig Jones getting some of that bonnet damage, seeing a replay of that. And, well, he will not be particularly thankful for that, and he's just had another off. Hasn't hit the wall, though, so he hasn't got any more damage, but he's now under pressure from Scott Malcolm, who's right behind him here. Here comes Malcolm. Will he go for a move into the chicane? Had a thought about it, but didn't go for it in the end. But, yeah, Craig Jones, quite a few mistakes at the moment. Mark, it just shows the difficulty of this circuit with so much grass around the circuit and so many tricky corners and so many tricky curves as well. We're seeing errors aplenty.
Yes, this is Theisberg going past John McConville. You can see John is struggling with that damage, the same damage that Craig Jones just received, as they go here, Ogden, Llewellyn and Musselwhite, as you can see, darting left and right. So I'm sure all the cars can get that kind of damage, but especially the Mercedes seem to be very, not like you jumping on that curve there on the outside of turn 2 and 3, I think, very much. So keep an eye on that, as whilst you can see there at the very, very background of the shot, Martin van Loosenhoorn running away very happily. This fight for the final podium spots has now been somewhat reduced to 3 cars only, even with a long way to go. The Tisch, Van der Linden and Van Buell seem to have been able to pull a little bit of a gap, both on Metherol and on Marshall, the two Meraki teammates. Opley is behind them, so Meraki have 3 cars, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th also because there is Bot Bolan. So certainly they are on an equal footing, despite having 3 different cars. There are 2 Mercedes, 1 Audi, and 1 BMW in the Meraki stable. But seems like they have done their homework and all driving at a very good pace.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of where Meraki have been all season, isn't it? It's just kind of been a case of trying to score the occasional podium. And
Oh dear.
that's a kind of a camera curse there, not really a commentator's curse. We weren't saying how well he was doing necessarily. But, well, that's not going to help his pursuits of Van Buel too much. He's now 4 seconds behind Van Buel, despite the fact that these guys are fighting quite a bit. Tej occasionally having to take a little bit of a defensive line, lost nearly 1 second to the race leader on that last lap. And I'm sure he'll just be happy with getting a podium. It hasn't been an amazing season for Matthias and Tej. Has historically always been a driver who's been scoring a lot of podiums. Not quite as many as maybe he'd like this season so far. Of course, Marcel van der Linden, I believe, a new driver for this championship. And so he's been extremely strong since he joined, especially since he got into the Mercedes. He's now just, getting back, but 0.3 of a second. That Mercedes grunt not really doing enough for him, trying to get early on the power on the exit, but it's just no way through at the moment. And well, personally, I love driving in these races, Marco, because you got to think so much about how you make the move. It's not just a case of getting a slipstream and out braking them. You got to think kind of a lap prior how you're going to set up the move. You've got to nail every single corner, and eventually you may get one chance in a 10-minute stint. And that's the chance where you got to pull it off. And well, that's just that really does show when drivers have got fantastic racecraft, when they can really take advantage of that opportunity.
Yes, as you can see, van der Linden gets close, but not as close as you would like to be. So it's all, like you're saying, a matter of getting a good run and waiting for your opportunity. Now, of course, this also means that Van Loosenhout is running away, but still, we can have a very nice battle. And once again, the toughness of the overtakes, how tough they are, is really showing. We knew it was going to be tough around here. Look how close he gets, how close van der Linden gets to the rear end, and also how close Van Buel comes to the end, to the rear end of van der Linden's car. As we go for another lap, this is lap 15. We're expecting, of course, a lot of lap. Look at the counter steering there, trying to keep the car straight. Yes, ABS and traction control are available for these drivers, but that doesn't mean that you can drive these cars, on autopilot. But that mistake there gave some breathing room to Matthias de Tige, and while we wait, I'm being told that there are some problems for Steven de Wolf.
Yeah, one of the drivers who's really kicked on in recent weeks, has a good run. And well, he's gone into the pits. And had a little bit of a bit of a lengthy pit stop. 26 seconds overall. So yeah, 12 seconds actually in the pits, stationary. That's not too bad actually for Steven. So taking that early pit stop really as early as these drivers can possibly go. So really rolling the dice there.
Yes, so I think he was thinking that he was being held up there, so that was a good decision. For a second I thought he had a crash, but he did not. And let's see where he is now. You can see in the minimap number 29, which is his current position, and he has got a lot of clean air in front of him. So, that might be a winning decision. Good decision was a winning decision. He can get more, get good track position after everyone stops. Now, of course, we have to keep an eye on the other drivers and if they are going to stop or not.
Yeah, see if anyone reacts to that. A very unique pit entry here, as you've probably already seen on this broadcast. And I will just say, actually, a quick thanks to everyone who's tuned in. 12 likes on this on this YouTube post. I'm sure a few on Facebook as well. So we certainly do appreciate it a lot. And if you haven't already, please do give a thumbs up to the video. We would super appreciate it. And also like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. I think I lost my train of thought. I got too busy thinking of that.
Don't worry, because I
Also,
found...
the pit entry,
Yeah, the pit entry,
sorry.
yeah.
I'll quickly have a word on that. It's a very unique pit entry. The fact that you go straight on past the chicane, and it's actually a big benefit to actually come into the pits when you haven't got anyone in front of you. Loses you probably about 2 seconds if you
Oh,
have to brake
Lidimer!
for the driver ahead, as Lee Diemer now has a spin. Has to get it back
Oh,
the other way. Wasn't quite the acute angle that he was aiming for. It's good enough anyway. And, well, drops down to 21st position now. And this is how it happened.
another victim of those speed bumps there on the inside of the curb. And back pointing in the right way, hopefully. So I found something you can do if Ian Root scores some points.
Oh, okay.
You can, if you take a look at the in-race chat, you can go through all the corners of Zolder. They have some very interesting names.
Oh dear, okay.
So
This is if he doesn't score points, isn't it?
If he does, I don't know. You decide. Right now he's sitting in
Okay.
P11, so he's there or thereabouts.
Well, I can do turn 1, ist.
Well,
I...
let's say that you do it when we have a Belgian driver coming for interviews later, so he can correct you straight away, because I don't speak,
Okay.
neither Dutch nor French, or even though I'm sure and I know that there are proper names for the variations of these two languages.
Flemish.
Flemish is one, and the other I don't remember.
I think, yeah, I'm not sure actually, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll wait for that. Ruben van Buell is closing in on Van der Linden, who has not been able to recover on the Tish after his earlier mistake. And I'm seeing in the front of the Atomic Motorsport driver, front right, he's got some damage, I think. You can see there, his hood is a little bit bent and pointing upwards, as we have some fantastic view of the pavilions there basically in the hospitality area there. But yeah, Matthias de Tige switching to the BMW and making the most out of it, as Van der Linden he has to be super careful.
Well, you can't take much more curb than that. Remarkably, he didn't lose too much time. You can see Van Buell really wasn't on the back of him. Going through those few corners, and a little bit wide again through the second part of the chicane. BMW driver just getting closer and closer. Van der Linden's lost about half a second to Tej on this lap so far. And this is maybe where Van Buell's best chance is, because the BMW is so good on the brakes. That might just be half an opportunity for him to send a dive. But you could see he was too far back on that occasion. And like I said before, you don't want to undercut someone here, because you can't take advantage. You're going straight, you can't go take the advantage of going full throttle all the way down into the pit entry. It loses you a couple of seconds, and so it's quite difficult to do that. You kind of want to have the overcuts instead. By the way, gap to the lead, about maintained. I don't know if Van Loosenhoff maybe had a small mistake, but it's gone down from about 6.5 seconds to 6 seconds now. Maybe just showing that when Teach isn't defending, he's more than a match for the race leader.
Yes, I think that our race leader just made a mistake somewhere a couple of laps ago, and also he is dropping. We know he's had connection issues all day long, and this could be a big surprise, Sam.
Well, I'll keep an eye out on the in-race chat, see if anything's happening.
He's not reappearing. This is absolutely bad luck for Martin van Loosenhoorn. He was dominating the race, and now dropping and dropping and dropping.
Well, he's won 8 out of the 9 races so far this season. or sorry, 7 of the 8 races so far this season. Only one he didn't win was Laguna Seca when he made a mistake in his pit stop by Fanganekton. Won it that day. That was round 2 of the season, but since then he has been absolutely faultless. It was pushed at Watkins Glen by Marcel van der Linden, but it seems today is going to be the end of that terrific run, and I can now confirm Martin van Liesnoord received through, but fell to an
Oh,
unacceptable
wow.
level. So he has disconnected from the session, maybe a connection issue, maybe a hardware issue. Never quite know with these things.
I
Hopefully we'll
know he
have
was
a chat
having
with him
issues
later on.
in practice. While preparing for the broadcast, he was telling that he was on a less than reliable connection for tonight. And sadly, when these things can go wrong, they go wrong. But very, very sad for Martin. If we can have, a silver lining to this, look at this fantastic battle for the win that we have now. The Tish, Van der Linden, and Van Buell, with a bit of luck. But now we have basically 3 cars super close to each other, and all with a shot at the race win. So very, very unlucky for Martin van Loosenhout there. But at the very least, we can console ourselves with what promises to be now a cracking race, Sam, for the race victory.
Absolutely, and what can Tom Methel maybe do? He's 6 seconds behind these guys. You might just see him in the back there. I just saw his rear wing, and now you can see him a little bit more clearly. He's trying to keep up with these guys, but a couple of mistakes have just cost him. He is a match for those drivers ahead, and if they start fighting a little bit, and maybe if he can pull up a decent strategy with, of course, the traffic going to play a part later on, maybe he'll be able to get involved as well. But at the moment, it's a 3-way battle. Van der Linden back with the momentum, because he did drop over a second behind the now race leader, Matthias de Tige, where he's right back on his tail, 0.6 of a second, separating the top 2, 0.6 of a second separating second and third as well. We've also got Andrew Hopley currently racing against Bodburn. They are teammates though, so just take that with a pinch of salt. You don't imagine they're going to fight each other too hard. We haven't seen the Meraki drivers coming together so far this season, as far as I can recall. We've also got Ian Roots versus Ben Thanes, a battle that was going on right at the start of this race, but it kind of is taking a bit of a hiatus for the majority of the race when Hessel's got past the pair of them, separated them for a little bit, but now they are nose to tail. And if anything, Roots having to almost completely go to the inside of the circuit there to fend off that move. He's a little bit hot there, but gets through it okay. And Thanes currently running top of the bronze judge, looking for his first bronze victory of the season. Roots looking for his first points of the season. As Martin van Loosenhoord comes out to the pits, and it's good to see him back out onto track. And but he's certainly not where he belongs. It's just a case of him circulating. He'll score some overall championship points, but he's not going to score any gold championship points today.
1 lap down, I think, compared to the race leader. Yes, he is. Race leader that is now sitting, basically almost 1.5 laps advantage for Matthias de Tige over Martin van Loosenhoord. Very, very unlucky. So keep an eye on that. As Ben Thanes here, I wanted to say something, and of course I forgot. As Ben Thanes, okay, I wanted to say that Ian Roots is finally in the top 10, but that might not last long, because he's side by side, and now here comes Moretta as well. So close to the first points of the season, but it's a long way to go for Ian Roots if he wants to defend that 10th place.
Round the outside goes Roots, and he holds on to it. Remember, Mark, he only has to finish in the top 10 out of the gold drivers in order to score points. In the overall standings, he has scored points so far.
Absolutely,
that's
yes.
The top 15 top 15 drivers, but currently he is running 8 out of the gold drivers, so he can afford to lose positions to these two and still be in for his first points of the season. Moretta, he's all over the back, getting a slightly better line through each corner, getting a slightly better exit from each corner. He can't materialise it into a move though for now, but maybe a chance at a bit of a mugging going into this hairpin. Thanes almost keeping his cards in the middle of the circuit there. Didn't allow Moretta to commit to the inside. It was just too risky a move. Roll of Moon's only 2.5 seconds behind these guys and catching as well, so we could have a nice four-way battle imminently for 10th position as Foots came into the pits and that caught out Thames, who almost completely had to skip the corner. Back to the race leaders though, it's the Tej, it's Van der Linden, it's Van Buell leading the way. Metal still 5.5 seconds behind these guys, and we are getting into pit stop territory, an opportunity for maybe Van Buell in particular to pull off something spectacular, because he's the least likely right now to win this race, you feel, with the difficulty of overtaking.
Yes, basically now I can say that the pit window is officially open for everyone. We have had in the last couple of laps so many drivers come in. Now a period of relative calm after Ian Roots is coming out. Now there is no one in the pits. Of course, we saw many times in the season, Sam, that the drivers that are at the front of the pack tend to pit as late as possible. Will it be the same today as the two leaders go through, and so does Van Buell? Of course, the pit stop will be crucial if they want to stay, in front. And in front of each other. I'm thinking that the silver lining in all of this for Martin van Loosenhoorn is that he, whilst he was reconnecting, he put in the required amount of fuel necessary to go home, and so he doesn't have to stop anymore. So
Good point.
but this is wishful thinking on my part, as the Tej goes very wide, but he doesn't lose a lot of time. So we'll see. Maybe he has quickest driver in the field. He was as Ronald Moons comes into the pits, was Van Loosener. So maybe he can get some positions. He's still in a good place for the championship, but you don't want to waste your drop rounds for connection issues. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's pretty much sealed the championship already, has Martin van Loosenhoorn, with his absolute relentless driving so far this season. Wants those boots. Was it him who wants the boots? No, it was the bronze leader, wasn't it? It was David Fuller, who desperately wants the boots. Some nice. I feel bad that I can't even name who's providing the boots.
I think the Abruzzi Simware,
Right.
sponsor of the series.
Well, yeah, certainly do check them out. And thanks to them for offering such a cool prize as well. We'll use them for sim racing undoubtedly. Especially if you've got some fancy pedals, certainly want to use some boots, really immerse yourself. As Andrew Hockley is here.
Very tight entrance there with that impromptu chicane, so you cannot go too wide through there. And slowly but surely, Sam, all of the drivers are coming in. As seems like the moment with the halfway mark of the race, time starts getting faster and faster, and from now until the 1 hour mark and the white flag, these final 25 minutes will go in a hurry. So get ready. This fight is certainly not over. What a save from Van der Linden. Can he keep the position? He can, but the Tej now with a bit of a break, 1 second, will Van der Linden head for the pits.
Well, that was some save there.
Oh, it's Van Buell.
As into the pits comes Van Buell, so rolling the dice a bit. Yeah, I think, to be honest, Van der Linden will just be happy that he's not buried in a wall. Here we go. This is going to be a roller coaster of a ride, because he completely he gives up on the corner, and there you go, keeps his foot in. Wow. And he's fortunate that his rear tyres didn't get on the grass there, because that would have lost them even more grip, and he would have probably completely over-rotated the car. So remarkable there from Marcel van der Linden. And if there's a silver line to that, it did compromise Van Buell's run into the pit, so maybe cost him a little bit of time there. Van Buell then, currently stationary for 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds. Expect about 11 seconds or so. Actually, maybe a little bit more than that. 14.75 seconds, so not bad for Van Buel. Sherman's was also into the pits. And Van Buel coming out of the pits, and also got to be careful of this pit exit line. Very easy to cross it.
Yeah, I think in the Euro V8s last season we had
Yes,
a
of course.
couple of drivers get penalties because of that, so you gotta be careful around there. You see Van der Linden certainly with the pace because he is closing in once again on the Tige despite that mistake. It was 1 second the gap last lap when they came here. Oh dear! You remember the pit entrance in Sepang, but also in Shanghai. That if you look from the front stretch, head on to the
Yes.
front, you see these cars head off. Let's see, every time after all these years, I always think, we're going to have a massive crash. Someone with no brakes. But yeah, that was almost the same. Let's see, Van der Linden is in. Let's see where Van Buel is. As some cloud cover has jumped on the racetrack.
It's remarkable how bad the pit entries actually are on the Torka circuits. South Korea is another one where you just broke halfway around the flat out corner to get into the pits. Wasn't particularly well designed that, and he came back onto the circuit pretty dangerously as well. Marcel van der Linden then, is he going to be ahead of Van Buel? It looks like he's going to be comfortably ahead of Van Buel. It is an unusual pit exit here though, so we have just got to wait, but Van der Linden, dare I say, holds that track position over Van Buel, and by a comfortable margin. Couple of seconds the gap between the drivers who were in second and third, and now the Tige, you fully expect to come into the pits. Surely he will. He could maybe do one extra lap on fuel. It's difficult to tell, but here comes Matthias Tige. He's got a completely free run into the pits. But he's not going to take it. This is brave, Marco. Me being a coward in myself, I would be into the pit straight away, cover off what your rivals are doing. But Matthias Tige clearly has faith in his own pace in order to stay out and maybe even extend his lead.
We have also one of the viewers asking us about the bronze race. He says he is a certain Dave from Mallorca. So Ben Thanes is the race leader. Dries Mujdi is in second place, and third is Ben Llewellyn. So this is the provisional podium. Thijs van der Berg is in fourth. James Obden is currently in the pits in fifth. Craig Jones will jump him. And Scott Malcolm is sitting in 7th place. In class, of course, is Dave Fuller, the championship leader and all-around dominator of the bronze category. And we are very, very happy that he, just took a bit of time off from his, very, very demanding time in Mallorca to come and join us for the broadcast.
Yes, absolutely. So, the Tige, this time, he can't have too much fuel left.
Well, we still have 20 minutes left, so...
Yeah, and it's a low fuel consumption circuit, isn't it? But this time he is in, and he gets a free run. He's a little bit deep, but, well, that BMW ever so good on the pit entry, and gets it slowed down as far as I could see, at least. And so, what is going to happen here? So he's got to stay ahead of, well, everyone, pretty much. Well, no, a few drivers might actually continue on their way, but we'll keep an eye out on them. But Marcel van der Linden was 42 seconds behind. Here he is. He's still got plenty of the circuit still to go, but his rival has still got to be stationary for a number of seconds and then gets back away.
You can find back the Tige. Here he is. He's somewhere. Here we go. In the pits, you see the Meraki Racing boys and also Steve Clays.
It's a longer pit stop for the Tige. 1 second longer, I think. It's going to be pretty close. Van der Linden coming across. This is going to be ever so close, in fact, because Van der Linden's going through turn 1. Here comes the Tige. They're almost going to meet perfectly on circuit, but no, it is the Tige just ahead. A little bit of a tight line. Van der Linden can't quite hook up that turn 2. And the gap is pretty much exactly as it was. Maybe that pit entry, that free pit entry for the Tige, maybe just the difference, because it is still him in the lead ahead of Van der Linden, as Metal gets ahead of Barnes, who's yet to pit.
So Ruben van Buell, the big loser of this exchange, look how much he has lost. You see the two virtual, first and second place, because Marshall has yet to pit there at the front. He has lost a lot of time. I think that now, of course, the Tige needs to do what he did for basically the entirety of the race. So hold off on the pressure from Masser van der Linden behind him. He has done so both when he was second, and we had Van Loosenord leading the way, and the same he is doing now that he is the leader. As Steve Claes is having some issues. He cut the second chicane and lost a bunch of places.
And the lead.
And the lead in his class. Good observation. So he lost the lead here. So there was an on-track move. Oh, some contact. Oh, wow. So damage for Claes and maybe also for Essos. Let's go back live then and see the situation. These two guys have yet. Let's see if they pitted already or not. Well, Claes is in.
Now, second pit stop for him.
Second pit stop, yes.
Wow. So what a chance it was after the issues for Witterpols earlier on in this race. A chance to really claim a lot of points back. It's not going to happen for Steve Claes. He's not going to win today. And that's a major dent in his potential championship challenge. Jeremy Hessel's now a comfortable first, as long as he can continue to the end of the race.
But
And,
Sam,
a dramatic change.
let's see if the stewards take a decision, because that was some big contact between the two cars. Let's maybe get another replay of that, so our folks at home can judge. We have on the left side is Steve Claes, on the right side is Jeremy Hessels. So one more time with feeling, so we can see this is this is it once again. Well, keep an eye on the chat, I think, because we might have some changes and some decisions coming from the stewards, sorry, in the next couple of minutes.
Yep, potentially. So that dropped Claes down into 8th position, I think, or is he even out on the check?
He's still in the
pits. Yeah. So potentially thermal damage there.
I think he has some big damage on the, if we can jump on board with him, as we have that is the slow car of Craig Jones. There I say that we go one last time on board with Steve. Not here.
Well, his steering seems pretty straight, actually, when he comes into the pits, but clearly a meatball for him.
I cannot find it anymore, so yeah. Back on the racing action. Let's pretend this never happened. I had it there, I scrolled once, and then, never to be found again.
It's pretty close. 1800ths of a second. One of the toughest parts of the circuit actually to overtake into this chicane, because it's so narrow on the entry. But here comes Van der Linden. He's going to have, in this remaining 14 minutes or so, a handful of opportunities. If that, he may not have any opportunities. And so if someone does crop up, he has got to take it straight away. And this is as close as he's been all race long, all hour long. Remember, he had a fantastic start. He got up into 3rd position with a nice move over Ruben van Buell. It was Tige, though, who started 1 place ahead of him on the grid. It was Tige who was 1 place ahead of him on lap 1, and it's remained that way for this entire race so far. And Buell struggling to keep up with these guys, currently 1 second slower on that last lap. Just hasn't been his day. Or feel annoyed that this was a fantastic chance at winning a race today. Just looking at Matthias Tige's results so far this season, his best result is a 4. He's had a 4th, a 5th, and also a couple of 7ths. Apart from that, he hasn't scored any points so far this season. So this would be a proper surprise. He's been running the Audi from the start of the season, but clearly this BMW has done its magic And around this Zolder circuit against a very formidable challenger in Marcel van der Linden, the second place driver in the championship, remember, is van der Linden. De Tiege is well on course for his first race victory of the season, despite only running in 10th in the championship standings currently.
Let's see just for fun the comparison of the lap times between De Tiege and Martin van Loosenhoort. Last lap it was just a bit faster for De Tiege. Martin van Loosenhoort, by the way, we cut away to him just just for a second, if I can find him. Here he is. He is lapping half a second faster this last lap compared to the two leaders. He's sitting in P23. His next target is here, James Upton, for 22nd overall.
Looks like he's only going to be one place out of the championship scoring places, actually, is Van Liesnoord. Currently 11th out of the gold drivers. Currently 10th is not Ian Rees. I think Ian Rees is currently 9th out of the gold drivers, so he looks on course for his first points of the season. Superbia, thanks Marco, currently 10th place in the gold drivers currently. And yeah, Mureta only just ahead of Rees currently, but dare I say, Rees will be content with that 9th position. Very much, well, I don't want to compare him to, you know, like a Williams getting a point, because it's nothing like that. He's been unbelievably unlucky as Ian Rees all season long. And he fully warrants this point score, and I'm sure he will score points in the remaining rounds anyway. But I'm sure he'll like to take them home. 2 seconds between the top two. Marcel van der Linden with a poor lap that time. Some 2 seconds slower than his personal best lap of the race. So a very slow sector 3. And yeah, so it's ebbing away, these chances for him to win his first race of the season, his first race in this championship, I believe.
Tell you what, let's go and do our traditional recap of the three classes as we are heading to the final 10 minutes of the race. So let's start from the gold. Matthias De Tiege is your leader, of course. Van der Linden is in second, dropping back a bit. And Ruben van Buel, you can see him there with his green car as we see Van der Linden go through the overtake there on the lapped car. Here comes Van Buel, he's in third place. Fourth, for Meraki Racing AMG is Tom Metherell, and Iwan Marshall for Meraki Racing R8 is in fifth. Silver class, Jeremy Essels is your race leader. As you can see, he's got 9-second gap over P2. A very, very quiet but excellent overall. Ronald Moons is having a nice race. Steven De Wolf is early pit. Alternate strategy is getting rewarded with a podium. Nick Schurmans is in fourth place, and fifth is John McConville with a bit of damage on his Mercedes AMG. In the bronze class, Ben Thanes is your race leader. He is somewhere in this mix. In second place is Dries Mujdi, getting through the first chicane. Thijs Berg in third for Dynamics AM. Craig Jones in fourth, and fifth place is James Upton. Here he is. So this is the top 5 in each of the 3 categories. And let's go back to the battle for the overall lead. So that bad lap, it shows, Sam, that you cannot really make any kind of mistake. One bad lap all day long for Van der Linden might be the deciding error in this race, because the pace between the two of them has been quite similar. So this means that if De Tiege can drive like he drove for the past 50 minutes, he can certainly bring home the race victory. And looks like this switch to the BMW, coupled with a little bit of luck, certainly has proved the good choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Van der Linden made that mistake earlier on, didn't he? And he dropped to about 1.2 seconds behind the Tiege, and managed to actually get it back up, but it's now up to 2.5 seconds. The gap just extending and extending currently. On that last lap, the Tiege was half a second faster again, 0.6 of a second faster. If anything, it's Van Buel. He's now closer to Van der Linden than than Van der Linden is 2 to teach. We're also going to have a non-van driver on the podium, which is absolutely superb and about time, it must be said, because we've had absolute van dominance. That's Watkins Glen. We had Van Loosenord and we had Van Liesnoor, Van der Linden, and Van Buell on the podium. In terms of race winners so far this season, we've had Van der Linden and Van Genekten, and so Matthias de Tiege will be a welcome absence to that mode of transport. And well, he looks certainly on course at the moment. Nice battle brewing currently right at the end of this race between John Barnes, Stephen DeWolf, Ben Thames, Nick Shermans. There are currently 1.2 seconds separated in the border. They've all kind of had their own narratives in this race. And yeah, like any good story, it's all kind of come together in this final chapter of the race. Don't really know how they've all found their way into this position because they've all had their issues, they've all had their strengths. And now having a nice battle over that position currently.
Moving up to P21 is Marten van Loosenord. His next target will be Thijsberg, who's sitting, well, I don't think he is going to catch him. So you were right, he will end up just at the footsteps, at the door, sorry, of the top 20. So really unlucky there was Marten van Loosenord as this battle continues. Barnes, the Wolf, Tains and Schurmans. Got gold, silver and bronze drivers in this scrap here. Also, it's the battle for P3 in the silver class because the Wolf and Schurmans are 3rd and 4th. I'm guessing no further action for the... as Barnes goes into the pits.
Had he pitted? He must have pitted, actually, mustn't he?
If he comes out of the pits and the number changes to 2 on our timing, yes, it will be his second stop. So maybe... oh, and also doing some maneuvers there, so maybe he misfueled. Let's see. Yes, it's a very quick splash and go. So mistake there from John Barnes, and he will give up several positions because of this. Musselwhite comes through, McConville comes through, Thijsberg is coming through as well. Tell you what, this could give... no, it won't give Van Loosenord a chance at P20 as we go here, just as Van der Linden comes through, and Van Buell is closing in on Van der Linden, so maybe Van der Linden had a mistake in his refueling. Is he saving some fuel? Because now all of a sudden Van Buell is lapping once again. Van der Linden is lapping in the 29th, Sam. So still 2 seconds, sorry, this time 1 second slower than the Tige and 1.5 seconds slower than Van Buell. So certainly he's either making some big mistakes or he's trying to save some fuel.
Yeah, I think he may have just maybe overheated those tires a little bit, pushing so hard, and maybe just struggling to really kind of gain back that cooler temperature again. There's so little let-off for the tires around this circuit, seeing that's just corner after corner. I wonder if he's just pushed them a little bit too hard and now paying the price for a little bit. You can see that traffic up ahead. Be a bit problematic potentially for De Tiege to get his way through there, but that would be the only thing that could deny him this race victory. 4 minutes to go. That means 4 more laps, I want to say. No, sorry, 3 more laps. Apologies. I did do A-level maths. I'm not sure what grade I've got, actually. I've done my exams, but I'll have to wait till August to find out how I did. But any talks have passed, and I'll certainly be able to say what I know about fuel. So Van Buell, 6/10 of a second behind Cutley, and you can see now Van Linden getting into that traffic. Should be able to get past this first traffic pretty easily. Shouldn't hold up either of these guys, and that looks like that's how it's going to be. That's Thijsberg, them just getting past.
Yes, playing it very nicely, playing it safe. Van Buell certainly has a pace advantage. Once again, faster than even though not by much, around 3/10 of a second faster than Van der Linden, who is bouncing hard on those curves and is really under pressure, Sam. Tough to make a move on this track, but certainly Van Buel, after a not so good pit stop, is giving himself any chance he can to get back in that second position on the podium.
Yeah, certainly trying his hardest at the moment. 6 seconds back to Tom Metherell. Boland also quite close to Marshall. That's kind of only become a battle actually in the last couple of minutes. Of course, they are teammates, so probably best for them to just finish line astern. Also, that battle between the Wolf and Thanes and Cohen and Sherman's also pretty close at the moment still. Sherman's just getting past Thanes there, so maybe a slowdown for Thanes. And he just needs to make sure that he finishes in this race because he will still win the bronze category. Would be his first bronze category win of the season, and it looks like he's going to do it comfortably over Theisberg.
1 minute 40 seconds left in this race, or at least until the white flag drops. As
that's too much,
around
and
goes
that's
Van der
round.
Linden. That was too much.
He's going to lose out another position here to Metherell. And Van der Linden, he had half a chance at a race win for so much of this. He's not even going to finish on the podium.
Get a replay of that. Quite clearly, she came in with too much mustard. Both curves hit very hard. No chance for his car, you know, there. Once again, let's jump on board with Van Buel. And it's Christmas come early for Ruben, so started second, finished second. Maybe a little bit of, you know, maybe if with a better start he could have been in Matthias de Tige's place, but you know, if and whens don't make history, it's the fact that make history, and the fact right now, as the white flag drops, is that Matthias de Tige is less than 1 lap away from taking the victory, and it would be, of course, a very fresh victory because, like you said, only Van Genechten and Van Loosenord have been able to win a race this season, and seems like the Tige will be there to pick up the pieces of you know, the other drivers' misfortunes. And of course, Moronald Boons was sitting in second in silver. And he's out of fuel.
Sorry, disappointing there, but here comes Matthias de Tige. He's only got a couple more corners to go. And it did come down to that second corner of the race where maybe Van der Linden got past Van Buel. Really did help de Tige because he's been able to manage this race perfectly. His best result going into this round was a solitary 5th position. He's down in 10th position in the championship, but that's not stopped him today because Matthias de Tige here at Zolder crosses the line and he wins round 9 of season 4 of the DynamiXX Simracersworld GT Series. Fantastic win for Matthias de Tige. It will be Ruben Van Buel and Tom Metherell rounding out the podium. Marcel van der Linden will miss out. Marshall will hold off Boland. The next driver, the next race winner to cross the line will be Jeremy Hessels. Have to check whether Hessels has won a race so far this season. In fact, he hasn't. He's had a run of podiums, says Hessels. We haven't commented on it too much, but he's going to approach the line and he's going to take his first race victory at the 9th time of asking. Jeremy Hessels wins at Zolder and gives himself half a chance maybe at that silver category championship win. Ben Thanes will be the next show. We're going to have another rookie winner, or another new winner at least, because he's had several podiums himself so far this season. But it's going to be Ben Thanes in 14th position overall, and he is going to win the bronze category as well. A fantastic day of winners, drivers who thoroughly do deserve it. And Ben Thanes rounds it off. Nice performance from him. He absolutely dominated that bronze category.
Absolutely. was certainly a very, very entertaining race, Sam, as we are waiting for the official results to come on your screen. Many, many new winners, which is, I know, once again, sad for what happened to to Martin van Loosenord, and certainly nothing can give him his victory back. That he was, he was in a very good position, but like they say, the winner takes it all, and of course it was a fantastic drive from Matthias de Tige, resisting under pressure all this time from Van Buell and from Van der Linden, and certainly a very, very deserving winner. And speaking of that, here we go with the official race results for today.
Yes, and it's Matthias de Tige becoming the third race victor this season in the overall victories at least. He beats Ruben van Buell by 3.8 seconds in the end, with Tom Methel a quiet third place. But I think that's Methel's first podium of the season. So well done to him. Where is it Methel's first podium? Not quite sure. I can't actually see, to be honest. But yeah, well done to Methel either way. Marcel van der Linden in fourth position. He'll be annoyed at maybe not winning that race, but well, really can't regret too much from it in the end. Ewan Marshall a quiet fifth, just ahead of his teammate Bod Boland, who was just ahead of his teammate Andrew Hopley in seventh. Then winner of the silver category, first time winner, Jeremy Hessels in 8th place overall from 17th on the grid. Nice climb from him. Chris Mureta was in 9th with Ian Roots. Yes, he scored his first points of the season. Well done to Ian Roots. He claims 9th position. And after a season of 11th and 12th, that is the least that the league organizer deserves. Seb Herbert rounds out the gold driver points in 11th overall, with Stephen DeWolf second in the silver category, with Nick Jones third in the silver category. And then first in the bronze category, Ben Thames winning his first race of the season. He was the last driver on the lead lap as well. Behind that was Stuart Musselwhite, John McConville, Dries Moody, Theisberg, John Barnes, and Martin Van Loosenord, who of course was leading for so long. And in the end, disconnection issues, still finished in 20th place. Behind that was Craig Jones, James Hobden, William Bush, Ronald Moons, Stephen Castrop, Scott Malcolm, and then the retirees were Ben Llewellyn, Steve Clays, Lee Deemer, Lewis Ward, and Davey Whitterballs out to the 31 cars. I forgot what that kind of that vertical sign means actually in terms of numbers. Anyway, interview time, and who are we going to have a chat with? Well, so far, have we got any race winners? We haven't got any race winners at the moment. So you know what? I'm gonna have a quick chat with Ian Reitz, because he may as well be a race winner. Let's face it, because he's come over all the issues and tribulations from this season, and Ian Reitz has finally scored some points. 9th place. Well done.
Thank you. I told you I'd do some donuts, didn't I, if I scored some points?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at qualifying. I'm not a qualifier, as you guys know. Normally, kind of 18th or 19th. But yeah, qualified quite well tonight. And I was umming and ahhing of starting on the grid or starting from the back. Decided to go for the grid, and it was the right decision in the end. I want to say now publicly, apologies to Davey in the second chicane. It wasn't meant, it wasn't malicious. I took the brake off, rolled up the inside just as he turned in. It was unfortunate, so apologies to him. But once that incident was out of the way, I just got my head down. My tyres weren't great at the end. They were really good at the beginning, and I was having to, I could hold pace with everybody at the beginning, but as the tyres wore, I got slower and slower, and I was doing a second a lap slower at the end. But managed to hold off Ronald, who I think was fuel saving at the end behind me. But yeah, 2 points in the championship. It's never going to get any better than that this season. I'll take a top 10 finish. That's fantastic. Really pleased.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is particularly impressive when you consider how strong the BMWs today were. How did you think the Mercedes dealt with this circuit? Because it certainly seemed that of all the circuits, the BMW really liked this place today.
Yeah, it's a very, very strong BMW circuit. I think we've got one more to come that's a BMW circuit as well, and that's Brands. It just suits this track. I drove it in season 2 here, and it was incredibly quick, and I was definitely quicker around here in the BMW. But obviously, I've chosen the Mercedes for this season, and it is what it is. The extra 10 kilos makes the tyre wear heavy on the front. But no, pleased with my 10th. Really pleased with that. That was hard work, and just thanks to everybody. The back markers behaved superbly today. I've not had much dealings with them all season, but today they were absolutely fantastic. Scott Malcolm and Steve Castrop, I think it was. They, absolutely behaved impeccably. So well done, guys. Yeah, really pleased. Really, really pleased.
Absolutely, and also that lap one. Clearly, everyone kind of listened to you. Of course, you did have that small incident at the start, but that was certainly a racing incident. But everyone seemed to be pretty well behaved around what can be quite a difficult first lap here.
Yes, it can. Obviously, there's, turn 1 pinch point. That's very wide into turn 1, but there actually is only one line through turn 1. Yeah, everybody behaved themselves. I didn't see many race control messages come up on the screen during the race. So well done, guys. Much better. And of all the people to create an incident, it was me this week. So it doesn't look great, but it was a pure accident. Apologies, Davey, for that. Yes, very, very good. Another good race. I had a good battle with Ben Taines at one point. I think we were side by side for 3 or 4 corners. Respect given there. That was great racing. I wasn't going to give him it, that's for sure. I knew that I could pull away from him at the end. So, no, it was a very good race.
Absolutely, great to talk to you today, Ian. Is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, just the usual guys. Obviously, the admins, race control, they do a lot of work behind the scenes. There's a lot going on now, ready for end of season, special events coming up. Just a quick plug, if you don't mind. We've got Sim Racers World are doing their first endurance driver swap event next weekend. Not this weekend, it's a special event the following weekend on the 30th. It's a 4-hour event. Everybody's welcome. Just go onto the website and sign up. It's a fun event. Just 2 drivers per team, just turn up and race. It's at Spa. It's in the GTEs for the first time. We're racing those. So yeah, so just a quick plug for that. Other than that, just congratulations to the winners and the podium guys tonight, and the Meraki boys. I think all of them finished inside the top 10. Incredible tonight. So well done, guys. And I will not see you next week because I'm away at a business meeting, but I will be watching on the stream in the evening. So sadly missing one of my favourite tracks.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you got the points now, so you can retire pretty much.
I can retire,
You
yeah.
can sell your kits, and just
I can sell the car now and just buy a motorhome and travel the world, can't I?
absolutely. There you go.
Cheers,
Fantastic
guys.
to talk to you, Ian, and yeah, see you soon.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Well, that was Ian Roots and Marco. Who are you going to have a chat with?
Let's talk with Martin van Loozenord. What could have been for Martin as he joins us in the booth. Hello, Martin.
Hello, guys. What's up?
So yeah, not bad. I was joining the session during practice for the pre-broadcast preparation, and I saw your message in the chat that you were racing on a, let's say, a temporary connection, and it all seemed good until that fateful disconnection there, which robbed you of a very very good chance at a race victory.
Yeah, definitely. We had a lightning strike up here near us. So there was a house on fire and the internet connection didn't work. So I was trying to fix the connection, and the last sort of option that I had was on my phone connection on the 4G, and it worked pretty well until I had a disconnect. So that was very unfortunate. So I backed out the race, trying to get sort of as much points and finish it.
In the end, you finished in P20, but all in all, you were able to get some pole position by just edging out second place. In the race, you were enjoying your time at the front, while second, third, and fourth place were battling it out. what was your what are your comments on the race until you were racing, and the track in general?
Uh, yeah, I've been driving on Zolder in real life as well, with Steve Claes right next to me in Volkswagen Golf TDI Cup car. It was really nice. Practiced before on iRacing, and yeah, it's exactly the same, the laser scan version of iRacing. So I'm enjoying this track because it's yeah, you've got the grass and the walls right next to it. You need to drive on the edge, and you need to know how to take the curbs and which one you can or not. So yeah, it's a good track with a nice flow in it. And in the race, I was enjoying the race definitely. I was trying to get as soon as possible in my zone, and that worked out. Made a little mistake, so I lost a few seconds again. Uh, yeah, and then the disconnect. So yeah, that was my race basically.
Hopefully, connection will be sorted for next week when we'll be running around Mosport. Are you looking forward to that particular racetrack?
Uh, I don't know what that track's gonna bring. I need to do a few laps on it and see. I think I've only driven that track with open wheelers, so it's going to be different with a GT. But that's gonna. I think it's a nice track. Lots of high speed corners.
Well, Martin, thank you very much once again. Commiserations for the connection issues. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the team, you guys, the sponsors, and the league admins.
Thanks, man, and catch you next week then.
So that was Martin van Loosenord then. Who are we going to have a chat with next? I think we've got to have a chat with our silver class winner. Because Ben Thanes won his first race of the season today, and Ben currently may not be here. So maybe we'll have a chat with him in a minute, actually, Ben. And instead, we will have a chat with Steve Plays, I think.
Yes.
And yes, Steve is with us now. And Steve, a bit of a frustrating day for you in the end today because it was going so strong at the starts and then it all kind of fell away in the end.
Good evening, guys. Yeah, I had a strong race. Got beaten for pole in silver by Davy, which was ah, I really wanted to have the pole, but okay, that's racing. And in the last lap in the qualification, he was behind me. I tried to improve my lap, which I did, but it was not enough. And I think he improved even better. So well, it was just one position. He was right in front of me, which I overtook him at the start. So okay, that was good. But I wanted that extra point for the pole. The race itself was quite good. I could follow Bob Boland. He first took a little bit of distance, and then I could keep that gap. I was doing very good lap times. Watched Jeremy behind me, but then the pit stop came, and I was really surprised that he was right behind me when I exited the pits, and there was somebody in front of me. I don't remember who it was, but I think it was the second car who was driving with Bud Bolund, and I got a little bit surprised, and then Jeremy overtook me, and yeah, well, the rest is history.
Yes, disappointing for this round, but you know that was another strong round for you when you were on the circuit, and it must give you some hope going into Mosport next week. Is that a circuit that you tend to go well round?
Well, it's been a very long time since I raced that. I know it by heart also, but it's for me it's a track which invites simple mistakes with let's say big disaster. You can really get a simple off track and trash the car that it's totally over. So it's not gonna be that easy, I think, and it's a very fast track. I love it, but it's not that easy. I'm not really confident going into that round.
Well, I certainly wish you the best of luck for it. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, once more the team, and you guys for the broadcast. Always enjoy it. So I'll guess I'll see you next.
Yes, see you next week. Steve?
Okay, boys. Bye bye.
Okie doke. We're going to have another go at having a chat with Ben Thanes here, because at the second time of asking, we have nailed the issues. And Ben, congratulations, your first win of the season.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Wasn't easy. I had some issues. Well, I was running in top 10, I think, when I made my pit stop, and apparently I forgot to untick my tires, so my pit stop was a bit long. But nevertheless, yeah, the win in the bronze class. I'm very happy after yeah some races which ended with damage and yeah, not so good places. So yeah, very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a few nice battles out there, but particularly that Ian Roots one, you two seem to be glued together for kind of the first half of the race, all the way up to the pit stops. But it was ever so difficult to overtake. How did you find it out there? Because it seemed to be a bit of a procession at times, but yeah, because overtaking was so difficult.
Yeah, in Zolder it's hard to overtake also in real life, but I think keeping your opponents under pressure, yeah, can cause the opponent to make mistakes. So that was what I was trying to do. I had some great battles with Ian. Very happy to be able to battle with a gold driver. Um, yeah.
And of course, in the championship, you've done all that you can do today. You've narrowed the gap a little bit to David in the championship. Next week he's not going to be around again, so you can get another 25 points next week. It might be possible for you to maybe challenge him in the championship.
Um, yeah, well, I'm not sure myself if I can race next week. I'm racing myself in Spa next weekend, and I'll probably have to yeah, do some preparations on Thursday. But yeah, I'll see what I can do. But yeah, David is, yeah, really fast in the bronze class. He always outqualified me and outraced me. Great race pace. So yeah, it's actually a great moment to take some points from him. So yeah, I'll see what I can do for next week.
Yeah, we certainly hope to see you next week. Ben, before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, well, the entire organization of Simracers World. It's a great competition with some great people in it who always try to improve the championship. I'm also sponsoring them, and yeah, well, they just do a massive job. I think the atmosphere between the drivers is also great. Yeah, I've got a feel. It's like feeling that you're racing with a bunch of friends. Nevertheless, it is very competitive at sometimes.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Ben. And well, hopefully we'll see you next week, but if not, maybe the week after that.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Well, that was our bronze class winner, Ben Thanes. I think we're going to have one more interview because we had been going on for a while already. By me rambling on. So, Marco, do you want to have a chat with Tom Metherall, our
Y-
podium sitter?
Yes, absolutely. Let's bring him in. Tom Metherall, of course. Having a very nice race, always hovering around the fourth, fifth place. And then, Tom, first of all, welcome. And then a lucky break because mistake from Van der Linden, and you got a very nice podium in the end. So your perseverance has paid off big time in the end.
Evening, guys. Yeah, it was. I had pace for fifth, and that was about it, to be honest. Ruben, Marcel, and those guys, they were running away from me a little bit. Then obviously Martin disconnected, gained one place, and then second to last lap, I saw Marcel have the incident, the first chicane, and gifted it to me, to be honest. last few races I've been edging nearer towards a podium, but this of all tracks I didn't expect it. I've been having a bit of a tantrum at the beginning of the week because I couldn't get on with it, but ended all right in the end.
I noticed that for big chunks of the race, the Meraki guys, you guys, despite having 3 different cars, most of the times you were racing, one after the other in the running order. So despite having different cars, your pace was more or less similar. Did you do any kind of particular preparation for this particular race?
Nothing different to what we normally do. I mean, all the guys, they got great pace anyway. Throw a bit of good luck in there. We've had quite a bit of bad luck to the start of the season. It's just a shame Jeremy got in there and ruined 5 of us running in a row, but we'll take all 5 of us in the top 10 for sure.
And how is it? Is it tough to have so many different cars to get ready for the race week in and week out?
It was only supposed to be 2 cars until Andy threw all his toys out of the pram and went back to the BMW. But it's not too bad, to be honest. We've all got different driving styles, so we all tend to do our own kind of setup work and that sort of thing anyway. So it's all personal preference, and we'll help each other out if we're struggling. We'll work setups between us, but 9 times out of 10, like me, Bod, and Chris, we won't be on the same setup because we all drive differently. What works for me won't work for Bod or Chris, and vice versa.
3 more races left in the championship. Mosport, Monza, and Branzacq. Which one are you looking forward the most?
Monza probably. Had some good results there last week in IMSA. Mosport, I go all right there. Haven't done it since my rookie season, but we'll see what we can do. Brands, I'm not looking forward to too much. I think the Mercedes might struggle around there a little bit.
Well, Tom, once again, congratulations for the podium. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, the guys at Meraki, to be honest, they're good as gold. Put up with my tantrums at the beginning of the week. Yeah, cheers, guys. And then you guys for the broadcast, and Ian and everybody for organising and working their magic.
Thank you very much. That was Tom Methrol, 3rd overall. And we will catch you next week then.
Cheers, guys.
Well, that was Tom Methrol there. Of course, our 3rd place driver today. And apologies to all those maybe waiting in the interview area. I think we're going to have to call it a day there.
The famous
otherwise,
time constraints, like
yes. Well, I'm gonna, fall asleep very soon. So far beyond my bedtime personally. So I can't survive too much longer than this. So apologies to those guys, but certainly we'll have a chat with you next week. But quickly, Marco, just a final word. What a fantastic round today. And I don't want to be mean to Martin van Liesnoord because he's a terrific driver, and we're very thankful he's in this championship. But when you don't have him dominating the race, it does add a bit of excitement, doesn't it? That we know that we're going to have a little bit of an unpredictable race. And of course, Matthias Attij's first race win of the season today.
You were very young and you were not following Formula One back in the days, but and I'm making this, so that the comparison is as best as noble as it can be for Martin van Loosenhoorn. Today reminded me of one of those races in the early 2000s where Ferrari, especially Michael Schumacher, were struggling or had a problem, and so you had Coulthard, Raikkonen, Montoya, Ralf Schumacher, all having a chance at a rare race victory, and races that could have been a little bit boring with Schumacher dominating. I will also put Barrichello in there because he was not a regular race winner. All of a sudden you had a possibility for a fresh race winner. So once again, commiserations to poor Martin van Loosenhoorn. I'm sure it hurts a lot when you are able to solve somewhat a problem that is out of your control, in this case an internet connection issue, and then have the solution fail on you almost as you start to taste the champagne. So all in all, it is not a disaster for him because he has a commanding lead in the championship, but still you always want to get a good result. But on the other hand, we had a great fight for the win, a drama until the end for the podium, and some fresh faces getting a victory or on the podium for the first time. So it was quite the entertaining round. And next week in Mosport, another short track, another track. This one is a more start and stop racetrack. Mosport is very fast, very flowing, elevation changes. That second corner going down the hill, if you put two wheels on the grass, you are straight into the tire wall on the right. So it's going to be another cracking race. And honestly, then I cannot wait for Monza in a couple of weeks' time. Italy is always a special place to race, and Monza, of course, is going to provide the drama of the first corner, first chicane, and a lot of slipstreaming and great passing spots. So, and of course, then the season finale, 75-minute special at Branzacci. So, Sam, a lot to look forward to, and also to get ready, everyone, because almost it's almost time for the Euro V8s to be back, and we also had the calendar today. It's been published, and we are going to start again in 2 weeks on the 29th of June, which is also, I'm very happy, because not only is the start of the Euro V8 season, but it's also the city holiday of Rome, 29th of June. So it's going to be a special day all around, and I honestly cannot wait.
Yes, absolutely. Will be a great day. That we've also got tomorrow. We've got the BSRTC Pro Series. I think, unless it's an off week, it could be an off week.
No,
I'm
no,
not
we have it
sure.
because I'm broadcasting.
Of course, yeah. You were telling me earlier on, and I might be commentating on it. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we've got that tonight. Sim Racers Asia. We've got
Is
that on
coming back.
Saturday.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
coming back with a multi-class series with
Wow.
the Lotus 79 and the Formula 3 cars. Certainly, it is going to be unique. Don't want to miss that. Nürburgring Grand Prix is going to be the first round. We are starting 1 hour later than we usually do, so not at 12 GMT, but at 1 GMT for this season. It's going to be certainly a race that you don't want to miss.
Absolutely. And then on Monday, we've got the Masters, of course. I think we might have some Vikmatek as well Monday night. And then we'll also have the Aussie IMSA series. And also keep your eyes peeled out for us, maybe broadcasting the iRacing Le Mans series as well. Keep your eyes out on that. And we'll give you some news on that, because hopefully we'll be starting broadcasting some Friday races on that series once again. So, and of course, don't miss next week, of course, when we're at Mosport in Canada, around 10 of the DynamiXX Simracersworld GT Series. But for now, from me and from Marco as well, we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.